That the Hindus should not have undertaken such an investigation is perfectly understandable. The old orthodox Hindu does not think that there is anything wrong in the observance of untouchability. To him, it is a normal and natural thing. As such, it neither calls for expiation nor explanation. The new modern Hindu realizes the wrong, but he is ashamed to discuss it in public for fear of letting the foreigner know that Hindu civilization can be guilty of such a vicious and infamous system or social code as evidenced by untouchability. Chapter 3. Why do the untouchables live outside the village? That the untouchables live outside the village is so notorious a fact that it must be taken to be within cognizance even of those whose knowledge about them is not very profound. Yet, nobody has thought that this was a serious question calling for satisfactory answer. How did the untouchables come to live outside the village? Were they declared to be untouchables first and then deported out of the village and made to live outside? Or were they from the very beginning living outside the village and were subsequently declared to be untouchables? If the answer is that they were living outside the village from the very beginning, there arises a further question, namely, what can be the reason for it? As the question of the separate settlement of the untouchables has never been raised before, naturally there exists no theory as to how the untouchables came to live outside the village. The basis adopted by the Census Commissioner for separation is to be found in the circular issued by the Census Commissioner, in which he laid down certain tests for the purpose of distinguishing these two classes. Among those who were not 100% Hindus were included castes and tribes which 1. Deny the supremacy of the Brahmins. 2. Do not receive the mantra from a Brahmin or other recognized Hindu guru. 3. Deny the authority of the Vedas. 4. Do not worship the Hindu gods. 5. Are not served by good Brahmins as family priests. 6. Have no Brahmin priests at all. 7. Are denied access to the interior of the Hindu temples. 8. Cause pollution by touch or by being within a certain distance. 9. Bury their dead. 10. Eat beef and do no reverence to the cow. Out of these 10 tests, some divide the Hindus from the animists and the tribals. The rest divide the Hindus from the untouchables. Those that divide the untouchables from the Hindus are: Test number 2. Do not receive the mantra from a Brahmin or other recognized Hindu guru. Test number 5. Are not served by good Brahmins as family priests. Test number 6. Have no Brahmin priests at all. Test number 7. Are denied access to the interior of the Hindu temples. And test number 10. Eat beef and do no reverence to the cow. It is with them that we are chiefly concerned. The new approach in the search for the origin of untouchability has brought to the surface two sources of the origin of untouchability. One is the general atmosphere of scorn and contempt spread by the Brahmins against those who were Buddhists, and the second is the habit of beef-eating kept on by the broken men. As has been said, the first circumstance could not be sufficient to account for stigma of untouchability attaching itself to the broken men. For the scorn and contempt for Buddhists spread by the Brahmins was too general and affected all Buddhists and not merely the broken men. The reason why broken men only became untouchables was because, in addition to being Buddhists, they retained their habit of beef-eating, which gave additional ground for offense to the Brahmins to carry their newfound love and reverence to the cow to its logical conclusion. We may therefore conclude that the broken men were exposed to scorn and contempt on the ground that they were Buddhists, and the main cause of their untouchability was beef-eating. The theory of beef-eating as the cause of untouchability also gives rise to many questions. Critics are sure to ask, what is the cause of the nausea which the Hindus have against beef-eating? Were the Hindus always opposed to beef-eating? If not, why did they develop such a nausea against it? Were the untouchables given to beef-eating from the very start? Why did they not give up beef-eating when it was abandoned by the Hindus? Were the untouchables always untouchables? If there was a time when the untouchables were not untouchables, even though they ate beef, why should beef-eating give rise to untouchability at a later stage?